My son thought I didn't notice the envelope he hid under my truck's dashboard. He thought I was too tired, too distracted, too predictable to see something like that. What he didn't understand was that the moment I found it, something inside me went quiet, and when a mother goes quiet, it usually means she's done ignoring the truth. My name is Sarah Mitchell, and this is something I never imagined I would do. I am a mother, and I took revenge on my own son. Not out of hatred, not to destroy him, but because he forced me to face who he had become and who I had allowed him to be. I raised my son, Ethan, alone after his father left when Ethan was 10. There was no explanation, no apology, just a slammed door and the sound of a car driving away. From that day on, life became a constant balancing act. I worked morning shifts at a warehouse and late nights at a diner. My feet ached every day, my hands were rough and dry, and sleep always fell too short. Still, I paid every bill. I showed up to every school meeting. I never let Ethan see how scared I was of falling behind. Ethan grew up knowing one thing for certain: no matter what happened, I would be there to fix it. And over time, that safety net turned into something else. By the time he was 24, he still lived at home. He had no steady job, no real plans, and endless excuses. He slept late, stayed up all night gaming, and borrowed money as if it would magically refill itself. When I asked about work, he snapped that I didn't understand. When I mentioned bills, he rolled his eyes and told me to relax. I kept telling myself it was a phase, that patience was love, that one day he would wake up and take responsibility. But respect had already slipped away, and I was pretending not to notice. The day everything changed was an ordinary Tuesday. I was cleaning out my old pickup truck, the same truck I had driven for over a decade, when I reached under the dashboard to grab a fallen receipt. My fingers brushed against something folded and stiff. I pulled it out slowly. It was an envelope, plain and unmarked, with no name written on it. Inside was cash. A lot of it. My heart started pounding as I counted the bills. $2,000. The exact amount I kept hidden in my bedroom drawer as emergency savings. Money meant for rent, for unexpected repairs, for survival. My stomach dropped and a cold heaviness settled in my chest. I didn't cry. I didn't yell. I just sat there with the truck door open, listening to my own breathing, steady and controlled. Ethan thought I wouldn't notice. He thought I was careless. Worse, he thought I was stupid. That realization hurt more than the theft itself. I didn't confront him right away. I placed the envelope back under the dashboard exactly as I had found it. Then I started paying attention. That evening, Ethan was unusually cheerful. He offered to help around the house and hummed to himself like he didn't have a care in the world. Over the next few days, I noticed new clothes, a new phone case, and shoes he couldn't afford. When I asked where the money came from, he shrugged and said he had things under control. That was the moment I decided I was done protecting him from consequences. I moved the envelope, but not back to my room. I placed it in a lockbox and hid it deep in the garage behind old tools and paint cans. Then I waited. 2 days later, Ethan stormed into the kitchen, his face tight with panic. He asked if I had moved something from the truck. I stayed calm and asked what he meant. He hesitated, corrected himself too quickly, and walked away. That night, I heard drawers opening and doors slamming. Around midnight, he knocked on my bedroom door, hard enough to make my heart jump. He demanded to know what I had done with the money. I looked at him and asked, quietly, if he meant the money he had stolen from me. The silence that followed felt thick and suffocating. He muttered that he was going to put it back. I nodded and told him I was sure he was. Then I said the words I had been holding inside for years. I told him he would not live in my house for free anymore. He argued, raised his voice, and reminded me that he was my son. I reminded him that I was his mother, not his bank. The next morning, I changed the Wi-Fi password. I removed his name from my insurance. I canceled the phone plan I had been paying for. I didn't do it out of anger. I did it because clarity had finally replaced guilt. When he realized the envelope was gone for good, he exploded, accusing me of ruining his life. I didn't shout back. I handed him a printed list of expenses and told him he had 30 days to contribute or move out. For the first time in his life, no one rescued him. The days that followed were tense. Doors slammed, silence filled the house, and resentment hung in the air. But something else appeared too. Early mornings, job applications, long, quiet hours that felt different from before. On the 29th day, Ethan came into the kitchen looking tired and humbled, and told me he had found a job. He said he would pay me back. I told him he already had, not with money, but with honesty. The envelope stayed locked away. Not as punishment, but as a reminder. The real revenge wasn't taking back the money. It was watching my son realize that manipulation has consequences, that entitlement eventually runs out, and that his mother was never invisible when Ethan moved out. He hugged me, not out of habit, but with respect. And for the first time in a very long time, I felt something close to peace. Sometimes revenge doesn't look like destruction. Sometimes it looks like boundaries, self-respect, and finally choosing not to be underestimated by the person you love the most.